Hello, good morning, and welcome back to the Thursday edition of Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Quindy. Our lead shepherd, Justin and John, are the shepherd dogs who are kind of slacking off today. And the shepherd dog that never slacks off. Come here, shepherd dog. Yay, Kiki! Yay. But Quindy is still our lead shepherd dog, Kiki, because you can't handle chat. Nobody can handle chat, really. I mean, all things considered. And Balrog John, I saw you up there with that resub for 43 months. Thank you. Thank you. In return, I will give you the very cutest, gigantic puppy. Very cutest, gigantic puppy. Oh no, Quindy. I'm so sorry. That's double bad for me because I'm going to be streaming Saturday and I've gotten used to your presence. Yeah, it was the Kiki. It was my good girl. All right, you want to go and lay down? Yeah, or kisses? Good girl. Okay. I'm going to let you stay in here, but you've got to be good, okay? None of your silly shenanigans. None of those puppy shenanigans. I want you to go settle. Good girl. Wow. What a day. What a day, Papa. Everybody's turned around. Hi there, Kiker. Oh, yeah, it's a Kiki. All right, now she wants me to sit here and pet her. I can't do that, Keeks. I can't do that. You gotta work. You gotta work, Bubba. You know, you cannot sit here and try to eat bits of paint that you find on the floor. Go, out, exile. Come on, go settle. Yeah, good girl. Settle down in the hallway. Settle down in the hallway. Okay. No, go settle. I'll see if she'll settle, and if she won't settle, then I will exile for her for real. Settle. Yeah, the every other week is super hard to remember, for sure. And Shadow Raven, very close to the triple anniversary, huh? Nap time. Oh my god, how will we ever manage it, Quinty? How will we ever manage? Oh, I have to check my email and report back. Hold on. So I did confirm that I do get a badge for ReaperCon because, you know, I'm me. And then I asked Ron if I could still order an extra, one of the Big Sophies. Oh, yep, there I am. I have a badge. Yay! But I need to see if I can still order an extra one. And I'm not seeing a response. Because I asked Ron and John and Justin if I could still also order an extra Big Sophie because I want to send it to Luca. But I do not have a response, so I don't know. Yeah, there's a Big Sophie. There's a big version of the Sophie for the ReaperCon Shadow Raven. You can find it on the website under merch, reapercon.com under merch. David, I showed it to David, and when I pointed out that it's actually like a 75, he's like, oh, yoink. So yeah. So yeah, you should go check that out, because it's, when I first saw the sculpt, to be honest, guys, I was like, I don't want to paint that at 28, because I'm like, it's just so, there's so much tiny detail, and I'm like, I don't know how it's going to be at 28, but it's going to look great at 75, so I'm like, all right. And it lets me paint a 75mm on here, which we have not done. Yeah, Big Sophie will not be going up for retail afterwards because they've got a 3D printed, right? So only available at in-person pickup at the con. So yeah, so if you buy one, if you cannot go to ReaperCon, but one of your friends from the stream here is going to ReaperCon, they can, to my knowledge, they can pick it up for you. Oh, it's actually bigger than that? Well, good. Yeah, good, Hyper Bunny. Yeah. 90mm, not centimeters. If she was 90 centimeters, that would be a lot, Twisted Oma. Yes, that's what I figured. A smaller one will always be available. I'm going to start mixing while we talk, since we've all gone through this, how we mix our steel color from magenta, cyan, and yellow before. I'm just going to get at it. Yeah, you'll need to find yourself someone to pick it up for you. But that's not too hard. You're a beloved member of our community. Surely somebody will do it and mail it to you. Oh no, Kuroniko, I'm so sorry. Yeah, the post is so ridiculous. The post to and from Europe especially is ridiculous unless you pay really overpriced shipping from DHL, which I think is actually why... It wouldn't surprise me to know that that's why Big Child went to that. Like, they have really expensive shipping, but it's really expensive shipping that gets it to you in under a week from Europe to the US. So, I mean, I can complain, but I really don't want to complain that much because, honestly, I guess I'll just pay it. I'll just make sure that I'm ordering many things at once from Big Child to offset the extra expense. I'm going to go with 3 drops of magenta, 2 drops of cyan, and 1 drop of yellow today. Yeah, and if you want to just settle for the small version, that's cool. And you know what? Except for texture stuff, you can still, like, paint along when I paint mine on the stream. It's the only thing you won't be able to do. Like, everything else will be fine. The only thing you wouldn't be able to do is if I do some texture because she's so big. Or she's got so much stuff going on. I might not do a lot of texture because she's got a lot going on without it, right? When you've got a really complex figure, sometimes you just don't want to do freehand, and textures are included in the freehand thing because the miniature already has a lot on it already. And if there is a point where you push it to the too busy level, right? Oh, come on, Shadow Raven. You just don't want me to ruin your rep. Oh no, someone in commentary is intercepting. Yeah. Yeah, if she's 90 mil, then she's almost 100. Like, that's really big. But it'll be super fun to paint on stream. All right, so let's mix this up and see how I did. Yes, yes. All right, let's see here. Okay, still a bit blue, so I am going to have to add a bit. I was close, though. I'm closer this week. You know, I've been mixing the steel color for long enough that you'd think I'd have it down, but I'm going to pop 2 more magenta and 1 more yellow in there. What it comes down to is that cyan blue is really pigmented and powerful. Well, it's not a 120, but 90 mil is fairly large. Like, here, I'll show you. So let's back up. Boop, boop. So if Cathy was 90 millimeters, her head would go from here to the top of the palette. So 90 is a nice sized miniature. It's much, much larger than what we typically do. Although now that I'm looking at it, Cathy here is 35. So it's not that much bigger. It's 3 times, you know. Yeah, it's 3 times what our normal minis are these days because our normal minis have crept. Everybody's minis have crept. I think that the mini creep will continue until morale improves. Yeah, the wings are different, right? All right. Ooh, I may have nailed that color. I may have finally nailed my steel color. Sweet. I hear Puppy clicking around back there. I mean, I might have to go and investigate and make sure that she's not clicking around doing weird stuff. You okay? Can you settle down, Bubba? You have to settle or get your bully stick, or I'm going to exile you. You have 2 choices. Settle or exile. Choose wisely. But yeah, she's a cool mini, though. And I shall enjoy painting her at the Bigitude scale. Hi. Hi, Keeks. Yeah? You just restless today? Are you a restless puppa? So school is out where we are. Yesterday or the day before was the last day of school. And that means that there's all sorts of pups all around that in the park all the time when we go through the schoolyard that Kiki wants to play with. And this morning David said there were many dogs, but Kiki could not play with them because they were all on leash going somewhere. So it was not playtime, and she was very sad. I still want the Monique Denoir bust that Ron has art for and has had art for forever. I need to poke him about that. Bubba, what are you doing? If you're snoodling around and getting in trouble, then I'm going to have to exile you. You know the rule. You know the rule. Yeah. She's just like wandering around today. Kiki's the wanderer. Oh, there we go. Now we've got a settle dog. I like settle dog. Yeah, yeah. So it'll be a good big mini. So the top of the wings will be about right there. If I scooch this down a little bit more. Yeah, that's big. I mean, that's big. That is 3 times the height of little Cathy. So that's very cool. Very cool. I'm going to mix up a highlight here, and then we're going to go for this. I think I do need it a little bit more blue, but you know what? Maybe I'll run with it. But yeah, this is, I'm going to do just a tiny bit more blue. I have to be very careful because we know how overpowering cyan blue can be. So, okay, I have a question for you guys. I want to paint a certain witch model for Bob Rodolphi. If I get it started now, I could get it done for ReaperCon, but it's also not seasonal yet, right? Like, it's not going to be Halloween. So, do you think I should just wait and paint it like September or October so I can give it to Bob next year? There we go. Little tiny bit of blue. Or should I paint it out of season so that I can give it to Bob this year? Like, do you guys have, does it mortally offend you, the thought of painting a model out of season? Starting now, wickedness is forever. Witchiness is forever. Every day is a seasonal day for Rodolphi. Okay, that's fair. And also for Quindy. Yeah, okay, Quindy. All right. Well, I'll order it then. I need to order a few paint colors with it, and we shall get on that then. Now I'm tuning my colors a bit here. Boop. I've lost a little bit of my contrast, so that's true. We can make her Midsummer Witch and just ignore the fact that we're totally painting her Halloween-y. Kiki, no. Settle down. If there's anybody at the door, they're bringing your treats, so you should not be barking at them. We are almost out of treats. This is a imminent catastrophe, you know. All right, there we go. I just needed to tune these a little bit. They were definitely not working out. And I think I am going to mix up that blue liner and brown liner mix that I like. That Kiki, so restless today. Clicky paws all over. Oh, nice, Sakurai. Yay! That's great. Hey, Kiki. We're talking about kitty cats now. Something you cannot have, Kiki. Yeah, something you cannot have. No kitties for you. I'm getting whichever Rodolphi one shows up at the top of the one with the kitty cat. I have her in my cart. Or I had her in my cart. Yep, Cynthia the Wicked. Yep. Yeah, I just need to add some things to my order. Probably some cyan blue, because I've been going through a lot of it on this. It's reapercon.com, Shadow Raven, and then you have to hit And then you have to hit the button for like stuff. What this stuff is. I forget what the word for stuff is on there. You have to go to the store, essentially. And then you should see her. Merch. You have to hit the merch button. Yeah, hit the purchase admission tickets button and then go to merch. There we go. Quinny's got it. It's cleverly hiding. All right, let's get this going. I wanted to get done on the back today. Okie dokie. Got all our colors mixed up. Gonna kind of experiment and see what I've got going on here. Okay, so that one is kind of mid. So we've got to get our highlight going down at the same, you want to go follow the line of the light. So from the butt here, we want to go down and create a highlight. On a cylinder, I will often slightly widen the top and bottom. Yeah, it won't let you order without a badge. Oh no, that's a downside, Quindy. Then that would mean that people can't just order it, can they? Unless they buy a badge. That's kind of less than ideal. But I guess they probably, if they threw it open to anyone, I guess they would have to print an awful lot of them. That kind of makes sense, but it makes me sad. So then I guess the only way for somebody to get it would be to find somebody who isn't ordering an extra one, and ask them if they would use that for you, do that for you, which is a little more difficult. Yeah, I mean, the problem is that if you open it up to everybody to order that, you will get a ton of people, because it's super rare, you'll get a ton of people just wanting to order it and sell it, right? To try to make more money off of it. Secondary market. And even if you don't, even if you get a bunch of people ordering it because they honestly want it, then you still have to like totally monopolize that printer of yours, doing nothing but printing that for ad infinitum, right? Because if you get orders that are way above what you're willing to fulfill, then you've locked up that printer. And you aren't going to be doing anything else on that printer, which may not be a good idea, right? Let's face it. Oh, yeah. And that too, Wendy, you're right. They are absolutely not going to ship it. I said, well, you know what? And I know people don't like this, but it is another incentive to actually go to ReaperCon. And I'm not intrinsically against those kind of incentives. Even though people tend to be very upset when they can't get the special thing because they can't go to the con, people who do go to the con, sometimes it's nice to give them a little something extra. And since everybody can get the little one, and it's just the big one you can't get, and I'm not totally against that. I see the problem. Yeah, and that's Fairware Shadow, but you can still get the regular sized one, right? This is just a little special. It's probably just something that Reaper was like, you know what? We can do this. Let's just do it. I'll just do it, just an extra little thing to throw in. So it's not like they did it, to grief the rest of the gang who couldn't come to the con. It's just like, just wasn't meant to be a main focus and is just a little bit of an extra. Because, it's not like they're trying to penalize you if you financially or physically cannot come to the con. It's just they're offering a little bit of something extra, so to the people who are coming. Yep. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Right, Agent Marvel. Right, that's kind of mine too. Like, I'm glad I can get it, but I've never understood the FOMO thing, really. Like, FOMO is one of those things where I've kind of like worked with myself to get less invested in it, when I have to realize that I'm doing it, right? I have to realize it and question, am I really going to use this? Am I really going to do something with it, right? Yeah, exactly. But as I said, yeah, the point is Reaper's not out to do this to penalize people for not going. Reaper's out to do this to offer a little something extra for the people who are going to the con. Which is cool, and I like it. Right. Right, there's plenty of con exclusives that none of us can get that we don't go to other cons, right? So I get it. I get why Reaper would be like, this is just limited. I had to mix a darker color because I didn't have a dark enough shadow. Hey, Carmel. Well, yeah, Shadow Raven, but you can still get the regular one. Like, it's a Sophie, but yeah, you still can get the model. You just can't get it at the Bigitude. If you are of the mindset of I collect all the Sophies that ever were, then I would say, then you are probably willing to go that extra mile to find somebody who does have a badge who might pick up the extra for you because they're not interested in painting big. You still technically have that option. Yeah, isn't a Julie sculpt, yeah. Yeah, I believe it, green user. See, that was my first thought, is you're tying up that printer. You're both, like, pretty sure that people aren't going to read the fine print and they're going to order it and you're not going to ship it and then they're going to be pissed and you're going to have to refund their money, and also you're tying up that printer for quite a long time. Yeah, I think it's a combo of all the above. So I can see it. Because enough of us are going to order it that it's going to tie up that printer. All right, I'm going to get a little closer here, guys. So we're just bringing that highlight down that leg. And it's time to continue down. Now, these little straps on the back of the leg, I think I'm going to make those leather. They're tying on the greaves. So I am going to leave those brown and move on to the area below it. Right. So once again, you can kind of see the little hourglass shape that I'm going with on these. I did the same thing up here to kind of spread the light along the upper and bottom edge and then bridge it. It can give you a little bit more of a realistic feel. No, I just think Kariniko really, really wants everything you sculpt, green users. And so she's happy that you didn't sculpt this one so that she doesn't have to be super sad about not getting it. But you know what? There are so many other beautiful models on the planet, guys. Realistically. Alright, let's get this groove here. Kind of bring it around there. Oh dear. Oh, green users. Kariniko is struggling to type as fast as she can to say no. I can feel it. Yeah, no. Oh, Kiki's disgruntled with me now. She's like, now you're laughing and having a good time, Mommy, with some weird invisible computer family that I can't even see. I'm having fun on stream today because I have a really hard scene to write in my book today, and I'm not looking forward to it. It's going to be a struggle bus. Struggle bus, 100%. Just like some miniatures give you the struggle bus effect. Books also do. Your paranoia is showing. Now, often greaves are sculpted with a little bit fatter to encase the calf. So if you want, whether it's sculpted this way or not, you can widen your highlight over the area where the calf would be to create that illusion. Because these greaves are not tapered, they're straight, but we can still like kind of show the outline of the calf there by making kind of a grail shape, right? A cup shape, so bigger and then smaller with our highlight. You believe in me, Tyler? Yeah, it's rough. It's always been kind of a rough scene. Like now that I'm into raw writing and also just chunking through some of the really, really rough chapters at the end of the book. This is what they call in screenplay parlance. This would be the whiff of death moment or the whiff of death beat for Sadis, my main character. And sometimes you have to throw yourself into the scene and just go. The whiff of death scene is when the character's choices all culminate in essentially that because they've not been making the right choices, they haven't actually changed themselves. They've been trying to change the world instead. They get into a really bad spot, and that's the whiff of death moment. And sometimes it's purely, in many movies, it's purely psychological. But it's essentially the moment where the character either must change or there will be very bad consequences. If you want an example of a failed whiff of death moment, think of Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. He has the option. He's offered the option to change. He chooses not to compromise his principles. And we all know what happens. So, and this is also like there's kind of variability in this moment. So your character always learns a lesson in the end, but it can be a soft lesson or a hard lesson. And the soft lesson is that they manage to like get what they want, right? Is that they struggle to change and they succeed and they succeed up to all their dreams, right? A hard lesson is they get like maybe the main thing they want, but at a terrible price, or they don't get everything they want. So all they come out of with it is essentially that they have changed to become a better version of themselves, but that it still didn't get them what they wanted. That's a hard lesson. Oopsies, my finger slipped, and Julie Guthrie asked me to. It's very reasonable. Yeah. Oh, guys. Okay, this is Reaper. Original plan. There is no original plan. There's an impulsive idea. Okay, come on. Let's. We all understand Reaper at this point, don't we? Come on. We've all been fans for a long time, and some of us have been employees for a very long time. There is no plan, folks. There's an inspired idea that Ron says, yeah, let's do that. Or Dave says, yeah, let's do that. Or, in the old days, Ed would go, great idea, let's do that. That's the plan. The plan then evolves according to impulsive decisions made at every turn, responding to pressure from every other direction. Right? And sometimes, yeah, then shit happens. Yes. Yeah, yeah, plan. Come on, we know this. This is how Reaper, I speak from the inside. This is how Reaper operates. I mean, it's cute and charming and kind of alarming all at the same time. That's Reaper. And yet we always come through. And that, see, Quantum, that was Ed's. That was one of Ed's slogans that he very much believed in, was no plan will survive contact with reality. That and every good deed deserves every good deed will be punished. Those were Ed's. Those were the beliefs that Ed most often espoused to me. Yes, it's like a little song about Reaper. Like if we write the Reaper theme dog, it's like the Addams Family song, but it's like it's cute and charming and a little bit alarming. Yeah, we seldom bust out. We seldom bust out. Oh, that's Ron. Like Twisted Oma, that is Ron. Because Ron still hasn't learned the end. And somewhere in heaven, Ed is like looking down at Ron, throwing his arms in the air, saying, "No! You never do that! Not ever!" Yeah, that's Ron. Yes, that's Ron. That is totally Ron. Get ready for the waffling. Ron is the head waffler. That should actually be his official company title. Head waffler. Okay, I got that a little bit broad. I'm going to cut back on it. But yeah, that's Reaper. I think I last I heard is unless something has changed or maybe shrug. Yep. Yes, it's true, Zagrai. It's true, isn't it? But you know what? Don't complain about it because the converse experience is corporate America, right? Like every other company. At least Reaper does try to do these impulsive, cool things for the fans. Like that's the thing. That's where, you know, that's where this is. Even though it's frustrating, the other option is not to have it at all. And I'll always take impulsive decisions that bring cool things for the fans over we are corporate and we are not going to deviate from our original plan even if somebody has a great idea, right? Like the fact that Reaper hangs out with y'all and does answer questions and does engage with you. I mean, that's cool, right? We don't want that to go away. Yeah, the end result is a very interesting company that strives to be agile, even though it's getting bigger, and wants to do cool stuff. And that was always like Ed's thing, right? He wanted to just do cool shit. He had this company, and that's why he would never go public with Reaper or anything like that. He's like, he didn't want to answer to shareholders or anybody. Ed was just like, I want to do cool stuff with this company, the cool stuff that I want to do, and that's fair. Yeah, exactly. Yes, it's always a moving target with Reaper, right? Which does cause stress to her people, but also enables us to do really cool things. So, yeah. Yeah, we know. I mean, that's just it, right? Reaper doesn't like to back down. Reaper wants to push through. Reaper strives to never fail outright. Alrighty, so we're getting that in here. So see how the darker shadows here help give you the shiny illusion, and we're gonna go down this other leg now. This is so much NMM. Yeah, I think. Yeah, the problem with investments is just that, yeah, then everybody, the people investing get a say. Ed never really wanted to, he didn't think it was good for the company to have investors pulling strings. He just wanted, Reaper was Ed's. It was Ed's baby. He wanted to be the sole word on where it was going. And that's fair. Plus, with Kickstarter, the nice thing about the Kickstarters is it allowed Reaper to expand without turning to investors, right? Essentially, when you buy into a Reaper Kickstarter, you are investing in the company, because that money, after we fulfill, money also gets put into infrastructure, right? So essentially, you are investing in Reaper if you back our Kickstarters. Hey, Daffodil. I suppose that Reaper, well, no, we've got the Seattle vacation before we got Reaper, so I have to, the next big trip is Seattle for David's mom's birthday in July. Oh, Quindy, I think I'm going to take my birthday off if it's cool with you and cool with the rest of the peeps here. My birthday is June 21st. I think it's a Wednesday or a Thursday or Tuesday or something. But I looked at it and I'm like, you know what? I can take my birthday off this year. I like having my birthday off. Go downtown, get myself some sushi for lunch. It's a Wednesday? Okay, yay! Let's just pencil that in. That'll be my only day off this month. Next month we'll have the trip up for David's mom's birthday, and that's in the first part of July, and I'll get you those dates. After that, the next thing is ReaperCon. I've got a lot of stuff this fall. I'm going to try not to take, except for my birthday, I'm going to try not to take any time off this summer, unless it's for the July trip. But yeah, it's going to get crazy. I don't know. We'll have the puppy with us, Thormel. We're pretty much going to do what David's mom wants to do because it's her birthday. So. But we are taking the Keeks with us, so the Keeks will we'll be around. So we're more likely maybe to do hiking stuff than we are. We are going to Mount Rainier National Park, which I've been wanting to get back to for almost 30 years now. So actually it has been 30 years. It's been 30 years since I've been to Rainier. So I am very much looking forward to that. Super very much looking forward to that. And we'll probably find a hike somewhere out there. Oh, nice, Zachariah. Yeah, you get a Sophie for your birthday. Yeah, that's a good birthday. Not always. I like art museums greatly. And it's fun to do those when it's just David and I. But David and his dad are very into hiking. We probably won't do a lot because his mom has I think foot problems, and so she can't do a lot, but then I can't do a lot either, so but we'll find a short trail that we can do. That's funny, Inara. Seattle and Vancouver and north of Vancouver was my first trip that I ever took by myself. I was at the tail end of college and a tail end of a relationship, and I needed some breathing room to think about what I was doing. So I decided to just fly to Seattle because it just seemed like it was somewhere I'd always wanted to go. I had an opportunity to go up and essentially stay up in Whistler, which is a big ski destination in the winter, but in the summer it's just, hiking and having fun and very much cheaper. And I will own up to my geekness and say the main reason I wanted to go to Vancouver was because I played werewolf, and they had a setting, Vancouver as a setting, and it just sounded really cool. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a werewolf nerd, so I'm gonna fly out and look at where the cairn is. I'm gonna make a werewolf vacation. So I made a werewolf vacation, and I went to Stanley Park, and it is pretty crazy that you walk just a little bit into Stanley Park, and you cannot tell that you are in the middle of a major city. It's pretty cool. But yeah, and then when I came back, that was when I did Mount Rainier, and I came back convinced that Mount Rainier was a cairn, and that I needed to run my game set there, so for the next 20 years, I ran werewolf games set in Mount Rainier National Park. So yeah, nerds. Yeah, Whistler area is nice in the summer. I had a lot of fun. Went down into Vancouver for a day. Didn't enjoy it as much as I could, I think, just because I was doing a lot of thinking, had a lot of heavy decisions on my brain. But it was good. It was a good trip. I remember it with much fondness. It was the first trip that I really had to just figure stuff out for me. Figure out how to get places and take the bus back into the city, and yeah, when you're a little thing, just fresh out of college, figuring out how to do all that stuff and be independent. It was a good trip for me. Well, they had to put their Fianna werewolves, they had to get them all entrenched in history and stuff. All right, what have I got? I got a big strap and 2 metal things. You don't have to do nearly as much blending on these little tiny bits. You really just need a sharp highlight. But yeah, I loved Werewolf. Werewolf still probably my top role-playing game. We'll have to find a shorter hike in the forest lands around Rainier where we can take Kiki. Kiki is limited as to what she can do in national parks otherwise, since they only allow dogs on paved trails. There we go. We got shiny legs, folks. Shiny legs. Very shiny legs. I have to do the side greaves here. There we go. Yeah, super tempting, Thackraya. Yeah, show them. I mean, it's all this. The metal just takes forever to do. Like when you have this much NMM on a figure, it's going to take you a while. And I gotta get all these little rivets on top of the feet. Tiny little rivets. Might need a little bit stronger of a white. If you're trying to highlight little tiny spots like that and it's really not it's really not taking hard enough, you gotta thicken up your paint a bit. Gotta be able to see those little highlights. And sometimes that takes thick paint. Usually you can still get thick paint off your brush for little tiny things like rivets because they're sticking out and you can kind of scrape your brush over the top of them. So you can get that really hard, those little tiny white highlights. So I wanted to talk a little bit today, because I was just thinking about this when I was contemplating my my difficult chapter that I have to write this afternoon. But when you are looking at the model you're working on and you're starting to kind of feel intimidated by it, or you feel like a lot of resistance to painting it, like you're just like, oh, this part's going to be difficult and hard, and I don't think I can do it, or I'm doubting that I can do it, or anything. The thing that works for me is to remove your expectations. Just tell yourself you're going to just sit down and you're going to just gently kind of work at it, just a little bit. And you're going to be really, really forgiving with yourself and remove expectations. Tell yourself, well, you know, this might kind of suck by the time I'm done, but at least it will be there. At least there will be something there. And when I have something there, then I can make, a call on how to make it better. But if I don't ever try to do it, I'll have nothing to work with. It'll still be a blank slate, and it's going to scare me just as much as it is now. So be real, gentle with yourself, and permissive when you are at a difficult spot in the model where you really doubt yourself. Remember that you are just a human, trying to human along in your own best way. And that, the only one putting these expectations on you is you. So back off and ixnay with the expectations, and just do it. Not Nike, just do it, but just settle in and, let yourself paint. And stop. If you find yourself getting grumpy because it's not up to your expectations, then throw your expectations out the window and just paint it. Only when you have something can you make it better. Yeah. So when I sit down this afternoon to write this chapter that I'm not looking forward to and that I'm kind of trepidatious about, I'm going to take a deep breath and kind of just feel my way into the character and just move forward. And once I have something, I can decide whether it's the something I really want. But once I have something, I can tune it. Like once I have something, then I can actually look at that something and make an assessment of it. Whereas when it's all in my brain, I can't assess it at all. Like you have nothing to tune and make better if I never do the work. So even if it's scary, deep breath, go with your gut. Give yourself permission to just feel your way into it. And just paint. Just paint. It could turn out better or worse than you expect, but try not to expect anything. Like go in with, well, this could be a total, F-fest, but I'm going to do it anyway because you know what? I want to get through this. And once it's there, it may be better than you think. It may be worse than you thought, but you know what? At least you can look at it and say, okay, why isn't this working? And it's much easier to tune at that point. Because you're breathing a big sigh of relief of well, that's over. Yeah, that don't want to mess it up. The fear of messing up, right? You're not going to mess it up. And you know what? Even if you paint it and you feel you have messed it up, Julie, then you just fine tune it. Like you're going to be able to tell right away if it's, how you've messed it up, if you've messed it up. Although always get a second opinion. And you're going to be able to fix it. Like, might take extra work, might take ripping off some stuff and putting different stuff on, but you can do it. It's 50 million times better to try it and be a little disgruntled and have to fix it than to never try it and never be done and be frozen on it forever. Yeah, well, and sometimes you don't even, if it's not a competition piece, if it's just for you, you can leave the mistakes. Like sometimes I will leave the mistakes in pieces just to, instruct myself. Where I'm like, okay, what did I do there? So I don't want to do that again. Or maybe later I'll decide, oh, I can work with that. Because sometimes you won't immediately see how to fix it, and that's okay. That's when you get some advice from people. Like if you are on my Patreon, you can come to my Discord and you can post up stuff and tag me, and I will try to tell you how I feel you could improve your mini if that's what you want. Might take me a couple days to get to it because I don't check the Discord every day because I have to work, but I will get to it. And usually, just having people outside yourself look at it will give you enough perspective. And don't worry, we're not judging you if it doesn't look good. We're just, trying to help you make it better if that's what you want. Because the way to fix it may not always be evident to you yourself. You sometimes do need that outside voice. And sometimes your instinct will be on. Like you will think, I need to do this to fix it, I think. And you double check and people will be like, oh yes, that would make it better. But sometimes the way to fix it will not be what you think it is. Sometimes you'll be like, I think it needs this. And people will say, no, it doesn't need that. It needs this. That other thing is fine. That's where feedback can be good if you've got a good community. Good job, Twisted Oma. Excellent. So I'm just like getting that highlight on the top of the feet because there's going to be quite a big highlight on top of the feet, right? Because the light is falling there. So when we look at it from above, we can see that. Nah, it's just your stocker, Nico. My style is different from most of the people out there these days too, and every once in a while I'm like, you know, maybe I should paint more poppy. And then I'm like, nah, I don't want to. Remember that your painting is for you. And if you think the models are beautiful, painted in your style, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or what any other examples are. Plus, let's face it, if you go outside of yourself for a moment and you're like, well, what do I like to see when I go looking at a model, if I'm looking up how other people have painted it? Let's face it, we like to see a lot of different takes on it, right? We like to see a couple of very different ways to paint a model when we're looking for examples that to inspire us, right? So in that case, you should lay off yourself because, you know, somebody else is going to look at your piece and go, oh, that's really interesting. I like that take. And if you didn't do it that way, you'd be robbing the world of the uniqueness of you. Well, you should always care about it. Sometimes it turns out, and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah. That's where just enjoying chilling and painting is a good thing, right? No expectations. Just have fun. It's difficult because, you know, we're taught that if we're putting time into something, we should have something to show for it and it should be awesome. But sometimes you just have to kick that thought to the curb. Like, other people's shoulds have no place in your brain. A little bit more highlight there. Okay. Let's tackle this side. Yeah, just push through. Usually, honestly, if you just push through and block in, just let yourself block in some stuff, green users. Like, you know, if you feel like, well, I need to change this, just do it. Just big blocks of color to overlay the stuff that you've like either finished, or if there's just a big blank space and you're not sure what goes there, just block some stuff in. You can always paint over it. Remember, acrylic is wonderful that way. If you just block it in, you'll get an idea of if it's going to work. And you'll be able to change your methodology accordingly. Wondering if there's a Was kind of like the mouseling, right? I didn't know what color his hat band should be, and my gut said red, but my gut also said, but that won't work unless we even put red somewhere else. So we ended up just blocking in some stuff. I ended up just changing the color of the hat band, going with the red, and then figuring out what I needed to do to the rest of the model to change it to make the red work. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure, because it's a board game, right? The Monster Hunter stuff, so people are just painting it quick. So, a leg is a cylinder, and ideally you've got your main light, front and back, but then you're also going to have reflected light from the environment. So I always say that light goes around 4 points on a cylinder. So the reflected light on the outside leg is what we're doing now. Technically, there's also a little bit of reflected light on the inside, but because it's underneath the model, it's typically only shows up a little bit near the ground, assuming the ground cover is capable of reflecting light. Oh, yeah. You can still pick up the Cathy Wappel tribute mini with proceeds going to her family. James is back to streaming, so please follow his Twitch channel. And there's the GoFundMe. Thank you, everybody who's already contributed to make it. You know, you can't make it really less hard, but you can. It helps to know that you have the support of others when you're going through something like this. Yes, they always, that's true. You cannot mess up Julie's minis or Bob's. They will take whatever you can throw at them. Ooh, that would be cool, Julie. Redoing some of your old classics. That'd be kind of fun. I always liked the, okay, he's one of the first Reaper minis, Julie. I forget his name, but it's the wizard with his arms up over his head with the arc of fire over his head. I really like that one. That would be cool to see a new modern version of, because you do fire so well. So the calf bulges out a little bit again from the side, so we're going to pop that highlight in there. See, and I wish we had more, you know what, if you were going to propose anything to Ron, Julie, or if you're just going to do it, the old Dragon of the Month stuff from Grenadier, the little dragons where they were just, you know, like, just like at the size of, you know, less than my fist, like, you know, just little dragons like this, but they were really well sculpted and they all had different poses and personalities. I think it would be kind of cool to do that. Because a lot of times big dragons, although they're very useful in the game, you know, and impressive, big dragons are cool. But I'd almost like more little dragons, not little, but, you know, medium-sized, like young adult dragons. Because let's face it, you love to throw a dragon at your D&D party when it's like still a young dragon and your D&D party is only 6th level, right? Yeah, the Bridge of Doom or whatever it was, Zechariah, that one. But yeah, I'd like those. I guess it would be kind of like the young fire dragon that Julie did, and the small shadow dragon. But I don't know. I'm thinking of, there was one I especially loved. Let me see if I can Google it. I love the amethyst dragon. I'm going to see if anybody's got this. Oh, maybe it wasn't the copper. It was Grenadier that did those, right? Grenadier. Let's see if I can find which one I liked. They were just good little dragons. Lost Minis Wiki. Yeah, okay, maybe it's the brass dragon. But you know, like, yeah, like, they were different. Like, they had different feels to them. I don't remember who actually sculpted those. Aaron the Conjurer. I don't know if it's that one, Turgeon, but... Oh, Bridge of Sorrows, that's what it is, yeah. But I really love the Dragon of the Month Club. Let's see here. What was the silver? Silver Dragon wasn't as cool. Maybe it was the bronze. No, it wasn't the bronze. I'm trying to find, like, the dragon that I liked the best. Maybe it was this one. Maybe it was. Except that's a terrible paint job on it. That's the problem, right? But yeah, John Dennett sculpt. Well, ignore the bad paint job, but you know, like, and this was probably, I'd say, maybe 3.5 inches long, maybe 4 inches long. 3.5 sounds better though. But yeah, so they weren't terribly big dragons, but they all had different poses and personalities, and of course they were based on the colors of dragons, which is totally not a thing for Reaper. But it would be neat to have some young dragons, because, I mean, I as a DM, I never seem to get a party that goes up, you know, to a high enough level to, like, fight one of those big dragons, but I always, like, love putting young dragons, or young adult dragons, the smaller dragons, into my adventures. Because, you know, what could be worse than a teenage dragon? I don't know. 2 inches is a little small for me. But, and you know they'd sell, right? Because you can make them really personality-full. And like I said, I bet a lot of GMs like using young dragons when their parties are smaller or younger. Oh, is Dark Sword currently doing a Dragon of the Month? That's cool. Yes, I understand that, Richard, but I think that they, even though they were small and they was constrained by the technology of the times, nonetheless, I think that's a great, like, that is a great size for a young dragon in today's D&D. And that's what I would really like. I think that we either get immense dragons or baby dragons, you know, and we don't have a lot of choice in the middle ground. Yeah, don't know what I'm going to do in the inside leg yet. Yeah, kind of like the zombie dragon that you guys did on this, because he's kind of middle sized, right? The last zombie dragon. Not another mall, but the littler one. That was a pretty good size. Like, enough to give you the experience of painting a dragon without, like, having to, like, be working on scales forever, ever and ever. That's me. Yeah, if the dragon is a recurring NPC, yeah, it does let you scale the dragon up as it gains in power. Although, depends on how your dragons grow. Maybe they grow fast when they're little. You could always do the Game of Thrones draconic growth cycle. The more you eat, the bigger you get, the faster you get. From tiny to gigantic in the space of a couple years. Who knows, Richard? A lot of those weren't great sculpts. Julie could do much better dragons nowadays, but I just liked the character of them. I liked that they all felt very different. The Dragon of the Month thing, they all felt quite different. They had very different personalities, and the chunky silver dragon, yeah. Maybe a little bit of shading in here. Yeah, he was more like a platinum dragon for sure. I agree. Because he was super drunk. Just a little bit of highlighting in here. I feel like I need to do this in reverse. There we go, better. Yeah, anyway, I have a fondness for young dragons. Mostly because I feel like young dragons have to be crafty, right? They don't have all the just like world-shaking power of older dragons, and they're probably, you know, pretty vulnerable to other powerful things who might want to keep them from growing to their, you know, full potential. So I feel like the young dragon has to be crafty, right? It's more likely to like use magic items and stuff because it doesn't just have like bowl through you power. It has to be smart. It has to be crafty to live. Oh, yeah, it is getting close to the end of the stream. Oh no, pretty soon I have to go work on I get to walk the puppy and eat lunch, but then I have to work on my scene, the scene of doom. I have to get through this chapter, folks. I think this might be the last hard chapter. Oh, and I talked to my cover. I sent a note to my cover artist yesterday, and just to confirm that we're working on a cover in September, and then next year. And then I ordered 2 more covers for next year, just kind of pre-set schedule. When your cover artist is like booked a year in advance, you have to think about what you might be writing next year a year in advance. And I'd rather have the covers early than late. I'm going to put a fairy dragon into my next book series. Because I've just wanted to write about one. And I'm like, the Cozy Fantasy series is a good place for a fairy dragon. The wings were too chonky. That's funny. Fairy dragon out of practicality. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Just a couple more. I think one more day of this will get us there. Ah, Hyper Bunny, yeah. Karenico. Yeah. You know, Watsy, they still don't get this hobby, do they? They just don't. They don't get their hobby. They don't get their fans. They just do not understand it. They do not grok. One cat would rather have wings strapped to him anyway. Yeah, Volnavia. It's kind of like testers. It's who is no longer, a thing. It's like it's sad when a company in the hobby that has managed to do well in the hobby and well by the hobby for a while seems to completely lose touch of the current state of the hobby, right? Lose touch with their fan base. Like, Testers was just floundering in those last years, trying to figure out what the model, what the miniatures market. They were trying to, pivot toward the miniatures market, and they just didn't understand it. Like, the products they put out weren't going to appeal to our part of the market. And I feel like sometimes I feel like Watsy's like that. It's like Galadriel. The world has changed. Well, it's because they have distribution and they can push their way into stores. But they just don't understand the miniatures market. For every one good mini from them, there's like 24 crappy minis. or indifferent minis. There we go. That front leg mostly coming together. Fly Crowley. Yeah, but they were bought, right? Because they were flailing about. And Rust-Oleum certainly has no skin in the miniatures game. It's just funny. But I think that WotC has always struggled with miniatures, Agent Marvel. I think they understand somewhat that, as you say, the core WotC team has an understanding of their fan base as far as the game goes, right? As far as D&D. Because 5th edition is good. It is good. But I feel like they have always, ever since Chainmail, ever since their first forays, like when they were, they have struggled with miniatures. They have struggled with understanding what people want, with understanding the cool factor that is necessary, with understanding, all that kind of thing. Yo, Shadow Raven, have fun. Have a good lunch. But yeah, I just remember, always when I saw it's just they don't understand. They don't understand cool factor. They bring out a cool factor model like that Beholder or the Owlbear. But then after that, you've got a whole line of non-cool factor models. Right, yeah. Well, WotC or Hasbro does. That's the problem is nowadays, the way business is being taught is everybody wants to build a moat about themselves, right? They all want build a moat around their customers so that their customers can't go anywhere else to get things, right? And to do that, they nail down their IP. And that's textbook what, and I've just been reading Choke Point Capitalism by Cory Doctorow, and it's totally what he talks about. It's that is what is presented in business school as the ideal now. Build a moat around your customers, make it so they can't, get stuff outside of you. And what that philosophy of business is the exact opposite of Reaper's philosophy of business, for one thing. So let's think about this, right? Reaper's philosophy of business has always been the more the merrier. The more miniatures companies there are out there, the more competition in the field, the more customers benefit from having choices, the more creativity will flourish, the more customers will be pulled in because there are more companies and there's more access points for them to get into the hobby, and the better all the companies will do. That's the opposite. Then you've got choke point capitalism, which is what Hasbro and WotC appear to be trying to do with D&D. Nail down your IP, make it so people have to come absolutely to you to get the thing that everybody wants to play, lock them in, and thus guarantee your sales, guarantee your player base. But it's been so long, with us having the opposite of that, right? With OGL. OGL was a Reaper philosophy kind of tool, right? The more products are out there, the more people will get into D&D, right? That worked. But now the current quote unquote business wisdom. Yeah, right. Yeah, you have to decide, right, Richard? You have to decide what you want to target. Reaper was a gaming model company for a long time, right? And things started to shift actually when they brought me on board. I wasn't the cause of the shift, but I was kind of an effect of the shift because that was when painting, display level painting or painting, getting better at painting and learning how to paint better kind of was becoming a thing, right? You had, You had a lot of really good painters coming in, doing some amazing stuff, and people wanted to learn how to do those techniques. And so you were seeing the growth of the gamer who gets into painting, right, for its own sake. And that shifted the market a bit. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's where WotC's like money is, right? But sometimes I look at what they do with miniatures and I'm like, it's like they're trying to do both, and they fail utterly at some of it. I mean, I have a friend who got into D&D recently, and you know, she buys WotC miniatures because that's the brand, right? That's the brand. And she just wants minis to use for playing. And so that's fair. But sometimes I see WotC do stuff like the life-size fairy dragon you mentioned, and I'm just like, and when it's a hot mess, I'm like, do you not understand that your market changes if you're putting out what is essentially a display model, right? So yeah, it's different. Well, right, and that's, but you have to wonder, like, it doesn't cost you any more money nowadays, hypothetically, to produce a good mini than it does a rubbish mini. There's a lot of sculptors out there, you know, there's a lot of opportunities to put some time into your design process. Like, you could improve, and then you could nail down 2 aspects of the market. But, I don't know. Then again, I am only one person, and I have a definite sense of what I think is cool and what not. And, you know, I'm not every painter, so. Alrighty. We almost got everything kind of blocked in. I'll be doing some tuning. We still need the back of that arm and the one shoulder pad, which now look really weird because everything else is highlighted. Kiki is squeaking at me because it's time. Oh, and the sword. We haven't done the S word. And we have to finish the shield. But yeah, she's getting there. Maybe we'll take a break from the animals next time and do her loincloth and her lion and her shoulders, and or the loincloth and the shield. That might work. Because I want to do some blue and magenta and stuff. That's what I'm thinking. Hi, Keeks. Keeks, are you ready? Keeks, is it time? Is it time, Keeks? Oh, hi. Hi, Bubba. Who's my papa? Ooh, yeah, there you are. There's your little face. Hi. Yeah, exactly, Agent Marvel. Yeah, a lot of people don't. They just want a serviceable model, right? Yep. And then you've got the GW people who want both, right? Like, that's the funny thing. That's where it crosses over. It's odd that it crosses over there, if you think about it. Like, GW has gone the way of, we need to put out gaming figures, but the cooler we can make them, the happier our fan base is, right? And so they managed to do both. They managed to have their gamers, but they also pull from the painting community because the models are cool. Yes, my papa is getting much scritches right now. But yes, thank you very much. Yeah. Right. I don't know, Richard. I don't know. But it's fashionable. Like, okay, just really quick. So, Richard, the thing is Critical Role. Like, they use miniatures, right? They use miniatures. They have, like, you know, a game board. Like, I was just watching beginning of campaign 3 where Matt whipped out, you know, this cool building and a street and did all, you know, has all these painted figures. So things like Critical Role still encourage the painting thing, right? Because it's cool. It's much cooler to play with painted stuff. And maybe the people who are just gamers and more mainstream, maybe they just, like, maybe they have jobs and they just pay somebody else to paint their stuff. Like, it's still, I think it's not going to die. I think it's still there. More than you'd think. But yes. All right. Cool. Thanks, everybody. I'll stop talking now, I swear. I'm just trying to put off, like, working on my damn scene. Tomorrow, oh, hey, we start another new model and we finish up some basing. Tomorrow is this. So we worked on our base, and now it's cool. It looks like ruined kind of rubble, like a destroyed like street, which I really like. And we've also got Illustraly to start. But yeah, so Sophie just needs some grasses and plant matter. So I'll have to like look at it and see what I want to do. Yeah, exactly. I own GW minis because I think they're cool. Even though they're expensive. It just means I don't buy as much, right? Because I'm not playing. But yeah, thank you everybody. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Hey, and it's almost time to pre-order my my GW 40K box set. I think the pre-order is going to be on the 10th. That's the hypothetical. But yeah. Yep. All right. Have a great day, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow for the Friday stream. Yay. All right. Bye-bye.